All right, good morning. Welcome to the June 9th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission. I'll call this meeting to order at 9:30 a.m. Rosalie, you want to do roll call?
Commissioner Arnett. Commissioner Curley.
Here.
Commissioner Dan Zeisen. Commissioner Landau.
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence. Commissioner Lawrence. Commissioner Montoya. Commissioner Swart.
Here.
Commissioner Slasher.
Here.
Vice Chair Lindblom. Chairman Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence, are you there? We do not have a quorum. We're waiting for one more.
Commissioner Lawrence is connected. Not sure if he's having audio issues.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Swart?
I just want to make sure she counted me.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we got you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Yes, Commissioner Lawrence is here. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you. We have a quorum. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rosalie. Now it's time for announcements. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with the open meeting law, ARS 38-431. Agendas are available within 24 hours of each meeting in the Maricopa County Planning and Development Office and are also available on the Planning and Development website 1 week prior to hearing at www.maricopa.gov/planning. The staff reports prepared for each agenda item shall become a part of the permanent record for each case. With respect to hearing process, cases will be considered in the order they appear on the agenda unless otherwise agreed to by the commission. For each case, the applicant will be given a set amount of time to present. Anyone wishing to speak on a particular case shall fill out a speaker's card for in-person attendance or raise your hand within GoToWebinar. The amount of time allowed for speaking shall be at the discretion of the commission chair. Staff will provide the chairman with the names of persons who have registered and noted desire to comment and those registered participants who have raised their hand. The chairman will call on each named participant one at a time. The chairman will conduct the hybrid in-person and virtual public hearing according to the bylaws and according to the rules established by the chairman regarding public comment. Votes will be done by roll call vote only. The chairman will verbally identify the specific members responsible for all motions and seconds. All right, the minutes from the May 9th, 2024 hearing were distributed to the commission. Are there any comments from any of the commissioners? All right, hearing none, we will consider the minutes approved. All right, move on to consent agenda. Darren, I understand we have some changes today.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there is opposition to agenda item 2. And if they are present, we will pull that from consent along with its tied to agenda item 3. We have to hear item 3 after item 2. But agenda items 1, 4, and 5 may remain on consent.
All right, cool. We'll be ready for the consent agenda if you want. Actually, there's someone, do we know who's we're getting feedback from?
It's Commissioner Lawrence.
Yeah, Commissioner Lawrence.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
So I'll present items 1, 4, and 5 as consent items. They are S 2021-004, known as Estrella Estates in District 5, It's a preliminary plat for 139 lots in the Rural 43 zoning district on 181 acres at the southwest corner of Elliott Road and Rainbow Valley. There's no known opposition. The recommendation in paragraph 14 is for approval, subject to conditions A through O. Z 2023-120, known as the Lane property in District 2, the zone change to R5 RUPD for an approximate half-acre site east of the southeast corner of Merrill Road and Akron Street. This will foster redevelopment of an existing apartment complex of detached units. There's no known opposition. The recommendation is for approval in paragraph 16, subject to conditions A through J. And finally, Z 2023-131, the Harquahala Sun 3-5, or maybe that's 2. Sorry, I'm not sure about the naming convention. In District 5, that is a zone change to Industrial 2 IUPD with a plan of development for a 500 megawatt PV solar power generation facility with the battery energy storage system on 9,048 acres south of Lower Buckeye Road in the Harquahala Valley area. There is no known opposition. The recommendation is for approval in paragraph 22, subject to conditions A through I. That concludes our consent for today, sir.
Great. Thank you, Darren. Is there any questions of staff by the commission? All right. I don't think we have anybody here in the public. David, is anybody online registered or has their hand raised about the consent agenda?
There is no one with their hand raised.
Thank you, David. We have no public interest in the consent agenda, so we'll close the public forum. Is there any discussion from the commission regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Schlosser.
Yes, Commissioner Schlosser.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda items 1, 4, and 5.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Schlosser to approve the consent agenda as presented by staff.
I'll make the second.
I'll second that. Okay.
We got a second by Commissioner Swart. Are there any comments on the motion? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Rosalie?
Commissioner Curley,
Yes.
Commissioner Landau,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Swart,
Yes.
Commissioner Schlosser,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez.
Yes.
Chairman, we have a motion recommending approval of the consent agenda by a vote of 6-0.
Great, thank you, Rosalie. All right, I guess we're gonna move on to the regular agenda for case number Z 2023-023. Staff here to present the case.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Z 2023-023 and S 2023-022 is Rancho del Oeste in District 5. It's a zone change to Rural 43 RUPD with an associated preliminary plat of 42 lots on a 79.5 acre site at Old US Highway 80 and 317th Drive. To describe the site, there are larger lots around the perimeter. There's an equestrian amenity at the south end. This site is surrounded by rural 190 zoning with farms and rangeland or natural desert. Except to the southeast, there are rural 43 lots around a ski lake. And there's no direct access between these two subdivisions. There is opposition as noted in the handout this morning. The staff recommendations in paragraph 14 is for approval of the zoning subject to conditions A through H. And in paragraph 15, approval of the preliminary plat subject to conditions A through K. I'll try and answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you, Darren. Is there any questions for staff from the commission? All right, is the applicant present? Good morning, thank you for coming down. If you'd please just state your name for the record.
Oh, Absolutely. Good morning. Thank you so much for hearing our case.
Rachel, we can't hear her.
Mr. Chairman, while we're handling that, for the record, I think I said the case number was S 2023-0.
Is this live? Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
That would be the correct case number.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Darren. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for hearing our case. My name is Julie Vermillion. I'm a land planner with the applicant CVL Consultants located at 4550 North 12th Street in Phoenix. And with me today is the members of the development or the ownership group.
Great, thank you. Do you have a presentation or anything that you'd like to present?
I do. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, are we good? All right. So as stated, Rancho del Oeste is located south of the US Highway 80. This is approximately southwest of the city of Buckeye. This is a preliminary plat from the year 2000. You can see that our site was originally a part of the adjacent community. It was considered phase 2. Approved about 24 years ago. It was designed in a resort style with the large centrally located ski lakes in each parcel. And since that time, phase 2 has been removed from the community's HOA and intends to develop as a standalone community. An update to the former phase 2 is requested due to an increased concern for water conservation in recent years and a reduced market interest in this type of ski lake development. To date, 2 homes have been built in phase 1 and we believe 1 is under construction. Next, please. Thank you. So with a density of approximately 0.5 dwelling units per acre, we are consistent with the existing rural residential land use. Next, please. And here's an existing zoning map of the site. You can see those ski lakes have a different zoning. They're RU190. We're requesting just to rezone those ski lakes to RU43 for the development of this community without the ski lakes. We believe that this is a very minor request. Next slide, please. So this is the proposed zoning map. You can see it's all RU43, consistent with the remainder of the community and the adjacent property. Next slide, please. So here's our conceptual site plan. You can see we have gated landscape entry off of the highway. We have enhanced community mail center right there after the entry. We have all 42 lots exceeding the 1 acre minimum. And we have 10 lots that are ranging from 1.5 to 2 acres and 9 lots that actually exceed 2 acres around the perimeter. So you can see we did a thoughtful design here with some buffering to the adjacent community with those larger lots. We do have a well site and large communal open space to the south. We have a well site planned there, buffered from the residential lots as required. So we had that open space there and we thought that would be a great place to place an amenity. And the site is planned for large homes with compatible quality to the adjacent development. Here's a concept for our entry design and landscaping. You can see it's thoughtfully designed. We have a roundabout there for turnaround and some nice landscaping along the highway. Next slide, please. Here's a concept rendering of the entrance gate with our theming and character for the community. You can see it's going to be a very high quality and custom. Next slide, please. And here's that mail center with some lighting and some interesting architectural features for the community to share. Next slide, please. I would like to touch on the equestrian use. As an RU43 property in unincorporated Maricopa County, it is the property owner's right to own horses on these rural zoned lots. We will be subject to all Maricopa County requirements and regulations for the manure and drop rings that would be handled and disposed of appropriately. And we are open to writing our CC&Rs to provide additional control regarding the livestock and cleanliness of the community in a good faith effort for to be a good neighbor to the adjacent community. All right, and that's my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant from the commission? All right, the only question I had was what's on the south end, you have the equestrian amenity area. What's the plan for that? I mean, what's the thought process there? What is it gonna be used for?
So we had this open space area due to the buffer from the well site. We thought that would be a great place to have an amenity. It's still very conceptual at this stage, but we're considering maybe a barn and an area for residents to ride their horses if they have them.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Anybody else from the commission have any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you for coming up.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, we would normally proceed with in-person, but I don't think we have any in-person speakers. Okay, I know we've got a couple people that are registered to speak online. David, I think we're ready for Mr. Mark Newport.
Yeah, I have Mark unmuted. He should be able to speak now.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you would please just state your name for the record.
Yes, this is Mark Newport. So good morning, and thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. Let me just share a little bit about our community here at Spring Mountain Ski Ranch. My wife and I own lot 18, which is right there on 317th Avenue, adjacent to the Rancho del Oeste development. If you look at that picture there, yeah, we're right in the middle of that west lake, right where the lake starts to get bigger right there. And we are original owners. We bought in 2006. And currently we are in the middle of building our dream home of 3,500 square feet on this lakefront property. And actually there's 3 homes that are built right now. And there are, besides my home, and there's 2 other homes being built. And there's 3 other homes that are proposed to break ground in the next 12 months. And so we're excited to see this activity at Spring Mountain Ski Ranch. These are all custom homes with an average investment of over $1 million each. And that was the original master plan of Spring Mountain Ski Ranch 18 years ago, is to build lakefront custom homes that share a common goal of combining water sports and family time while enjoying quality water and amazing sunsets. But our individual investments, we feel, will be negatively affected if our concerns are not heard and dealt with. And thus we oppose this rezoning and progress of the Rancho development until we have our concerns dealt with. Ultimately, our community, Spring Mountain, would like to have a meeting with Rancho to discuss our CC&Rs and our community objectives and just find some common ground. But we do have some concerns, and first of which is the health concerns. As a water skiing and water sports community, we've been investing a huge part of our annual budget into keeping our lake water clean and clear and healthy for bodily contact, because we're water skiing in this water, obviously. And we just invested $800,000 into a new water well for the purpose of quality water and efficiency of retrieving our water. Now, I grew up on 11 acres, and we had a lot of farm animals when I was a kid. And with horses come manure, and with manure comes flies. And these flies will propose potentially a health risk to our water quality and keeping it to standards that meet county regulations. We have to keep our water quality very clear for county regulations. And most likely, we'll see potentially higher bacteria counts with this, which would also propose health risks to our owners, of which most have families with children and grandchildren. So just may I propose something here, that the equestrian center that is on that corner, that south corner, may I propose that be moved to the farthest northwest corner of the Rancho development. And may I also propose that the 2-acre adjacent lots right there that parallel 317th Street not allow for horses. This would possibly mitigate flies into our lakes and the manure smell from blowing into our homes. The second concern, besides the health risk, the second concern is the security and liability. Our community right now is gated and we have cameras, but we have no lifeguards at the lake. If there's no boundary or wall separating the two communities, there's a liability concern that Rancho residents could walk onto our community and use the lakes as a pool, subjecting our community to liability. So again, may I just propose that a wall, a 6 to 8 foot wall be constructed separating our two communities. A third concern is a development on the individual lots. Our CCNRs for Spring Mountain have architectural guidelines and require constructed homes with square footage requirements. Modular homes are not allowed, trailers are not allowed, long-term RV camping is not allowed. We would expect that of Rancho too in their CCNRs as well. So of the 22 lots here at Spring Mountain Ski Ranch, I think there's been 10 to 12 emails that went out to Paula Jaramillo and Joseph Mueller and Rachel Applegate, with similar concerns. So again, we oppose this rezoning and the progress here with Rancho. There's, I think, a few other people that wanted to speak as well, but thank you for your time, consideration, allowing me to speak today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Newport. Next on the list is Marianne Clough, and please keep your comments brief, and there's no need to cover something that a previous speaker has already talked about. You can just say that you agree with them, but Marianne Clough, if you're on, we're ready for you. David, is she online?
Chairman and members of the commission, David indicated he's having some audio issues, but Mary Ann Cuff is not online.
Okay.
She did submit a letter in opposition,
Okay.
indicating that she is opposed to the case and she's asking for continuation of the case, but she is not registered online right now.
Okay. Thank you for that, Rachel. Do we know if anybody else online has their hands raised or anybody else that needs to talk? No? Okay, so since we have no other opposition or anybody else that wishes to speak, I'll give Julia just a few minutes to rebut a couple of their points there.
All right, I really appreciate Mark's feedback and thank you for calling in. I just wanted to respond and mention that we do commit to conventional construction. We do commit to having large home sizes and high quality architectural guidelines within our CCNRs as well. We would be comparable to the adjacent community and we would uphold that quality that you currently have. I would also mention that we're open to we are a private gated community. We do have plans for a perimeter wall along the highway and along the wash. I will say that coordination is still ongoing regarding the shared property line, and we are more than willing to work with you on that. And we are more than willing to build a fence along the equestrian area for that separation.
Great, thank you very much. Does anybody from the commission have any additional comments or questions for the applicant?
I just have one, just to clarify when Rachel said, or excuse me, when the speaker said a fence, obviously the speaker is probably hoping for a block wall and not like a horse fence that can be seen through or someone can climb through. So maybe she could clarify if they'd be willing to construct a block wall.
Thank you for your question. I just spoke with a member of the ownership group and they are willing to construct a block wall along that equestrian area.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Is there any other questions or comments from the commission?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Landolt. The equestrian area, would it, I know the plan was due to that well site. Would it be possible to move it to the northwest corner as suggested, or is that too burdensome?
I can speak to that. I will say that well site was, or the equestrian area was planned there specifically due to that buffer and that open space. We didn't have much else to do with that space, and we thought that that would be a nice addition to the plan. If we were to try to move it along the highway, it would significantly impact our site design, and we would potentially have to lose a few lots or try to reorganize the site. So we would have to go back to square one for the concept design process, unfortunately.
I think in the photo it looks, I might be wrong, but it looks like the barn is kind of on that perimeter line. Am I looking at that right, or is it on the western part of that lot?
Oh, I will say this is a concept rendering from a graphic designer, so if we still don't have, a specific location for that barn, but we will meet all setback requirements. Oh, it is more in the center, yeah. And we'll meet all county setback requirements for that barn. Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Landolt. Is there any other questions or comments from the commission? All right, hearing none, we will close the public forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody from the commission want to start with some discussion on this case? All right, I guess I'll give you guys my 2 cents. I feel like this is a great land use for this project. I think that the ownership did a great job at increasing the lot sizes around the perimeter to provide a buffer from the smaller lots. I'm very familiar with this area, and I think that this subdivision would attract very high-end homes, and I think we're going to attract the types of home buyers and horse owners that aren't going to let their properties build up with manure and keep them clean. So in my opinion, I think this is a great fit for the project. I mean, all we're really doing is changing the zoning from the lakes of 190 to RU43. And I think this applicant suits that perfectly. So is there any other questions, comments from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Schlosser here.
Yes, Commissioner Schlosser.
I, like you, very familiar with this area. For those on the commission, just to give you a flavor for the area, it's a very rural area. Within just a few things that come to mind, within a few miles of this water ski park, there's another one to the south. But also within a few miles, there's a 100-year landfill to the southeast owned by the city of Phoenix, another landfill across Highway 85. Lewis State Prison is to the east there. I don't know how many miles, but south on Old Highway 80, there's a 5,000 cow dairy farm to the south there. And then to the west is the Gila River within a short distance as well. So the arguments about flies, I grew up on a dairy, and I don't know what health concerns would be as far as contaminating the groundwater there. I know that horse manure is not going to, I don't know how deep the well that they put in there, but it's not going to penetrate the ground down to wherever the level of the groundwater is that they're pumping from. The one comment that was answered by the applicant when she stood back up there was my concern was from the opposition speaker who spoke about the access to the folks that in this potential future subdivision going in and swimming in their lake. That is a legitimate concern, but that was answered by the applicants that they're willing to work with the adjacent property owners and or build their own fence there. And I'm not an attorney, but if there's nothing there that lake is no different than a swimming pool. And I think the legal term is it's an attractive nuisance, and the onus is on the property owners to keep folks out of that lake, not the other way around. But it sounds like that both property owners are willing to work with each other. And I've rambled on long enough, but I'm obviously in favor of approving this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schlosser. Anybody else from the commission have any comments? We will have to, do we have to have two separate motions and two votes? Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion, and please remember that this is two separate cases, so we'll need to have two separate motions.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schlosser?
I move to approve case number Z 2023-023 as presented.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to recommend approval by Commissioner Schlosser. Can we get a second?
Second, Lawrence.
And we have a second from Commissioner Lawrence. Are there any comments on the motion? All right, hearing none, I'll go for roll call vote. Rosalie?
Commissioner Curley,
Yes.
Commissioner Landau,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Swart,
Yes.
Commissioner Schlosser,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez.
Yes.
Chairman, we have a motion recommending approval by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Rosalie. Now I'll entertain a motion for case S 2023-002.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schlosser?
make a motion to approve S 2023-002 as presented.
All right, we have a motion to recommend approval by Commissioner Schlosser.
Commissioner Landau, I'll second.
I think we already did the zoning, right? And what's S is for?
The wall would be part of the plat.
Okay.
I don't know if Commissioner Schlosser wanted the wall as an added condition or not.
Commissioner Schlosser, Wayne Peck brought up a point if you wanted to add as a condition to your motion to require a block wall on the east boundary line of the equestrian center.
No, after what I heard from the applicant and their willingness to work with the property owner, my gut tells me that they're going to be good neighbors and figure it out. So I don't want to add that to my motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Schlosser. So we got a motion to recommend approval for case 2023-002 by Commissioner Schlosser, and then we have a second by Commissioner Landau. Are there any comments on the motion? All right, hearing none, Rosalie, we'll do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Curley,
Yes.
Commissioner Landau,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Swart,
Yes.
Commissioner Schlosser,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez.
Yes.
Chairman, we have a motion recommending approval by a vote of 6-0.
Wonderful, thank you, Rosalie. Moving on, Darren, do we have any other matters?
We have a zipper meeting next month.
All right, actually that's this month. So,
Oh, we are June, sorry.
all right, we have a zipper meeting June 27th, and with that, we will adjourn this meeting at 10:04.